that the science that we'll be discussing today is really just truly a revolutionary step in what was originally termed nutrition, but today what we found out is that specific compounds actually interact at either the genetic level of the cell or the pathways that are directly involved with the genes that are essential to maintain our optimal health and to help us age optimally. So in essence, what we'll be talking about today is a product that really is a whole new category. It's not a vitamin mineral supplement, but is really a nutrigenetic compound that has been designed to optimize how your cell works from the DNA, which is the origin of the aging process, outward. And really what makes Juness completely different is the concept of working at the origin of the aging process rather than working on the effects of the aging process, which is really the focus on most other companies. So that's really the big difference in what we're going to be addressing today. I'm looking at here how I can advance this slide, so I'm not sure again how to do that. There we go. Thank you. The second slide, and I want to make sure I'm on the right one, the science behind AM and PM Essentials is really what I've just talked about. And with these two labels, I think it's really important to make a comment about why we have two specific formulas that are different in certain ways. One of the key things that the human body is designed around is what we call a chronobiology concept, and that is in the morning and in the evening, certain aspects of the nervous system, and it's really the autonomic nervous system, are designed to function differently. For instance, the autonomic nervous system has two parts: the sympathetic system, which is what is active in the morning, and the parasympathetic, which is active in the PM. So one of the ways to remember this is parasympathetic PM, and AM is the sympathetic or sunny component of the normal biorhythm or bioclock of the body. So in the morning we need to have the sympathetic system active, which is what keeps us or gets us awake and running for the activities of the day. In the PM we need to have the parasympathetic system more active to help us get a good night's sleep and really optimize cellular repair. So for that reason, my research and many other people have actually shown that by balancing this autonomic nervous system function, we actually can improve our health. So that in alone is a concept behind this nutrigenetic product. And why is that important is because the body's really designed for cellular repair, mainly in the evening, and during the day our body really needs to be at its optimal for energy, for processing information and activity. So as we age, we lose that normal balance of sympathetic sunny morning and parasympathetic PM in the evening process, and it actually reverses, which is why many people as they age feel sluggish in the morning and really can't sleep at night. So by using certain compounds we can help regulate that autonomic nervous system and chronobiology inside the cell. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. Somebody's clicking for me on that next slide if they can. Okay, why are these vitamins important? Let me make a comment right now about this slide. Because Nutrigen is not specifically a vitamin mineral supplement, we need to kind of clarify the whole concept here. We definitely have vitamins and minerals in the product. Many of these vitamins and minerals, particularly the ones that are you see here, are part of what has been considered essential components to support the other four complexes in this product. And many of them have functions that kind of overlap. So although you'll see these vitamins listed, and particularly they don't seem like they're in very large amounts in certain cases, they will actually be synergistic with the other four key complexes we'll be talking about in a minute. So when people say to me, gee, do I really need to take another vitamin mineral supplement? My answer to them is really no, you don't, provided you're eating a reasonable meal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we'll talk about that in the evening a little bit later as some of these other slides come up. So I think we need to talk about why do we have actually certain vitamins, minerals in the evening, and have more or less of them in the AM and PM formula. Okay, so again, the whole concept here is based on the research that I've been intimately involved with over the last 10 years, is certain compounds and certain vitamins, and particularly minerals, help regulate that autonomic nervous system function, or help you stay more relaxed in the evening as opposed to being relaxed in the morning and really not energetic, and vice versa. So what we've done is try to change the blend of the PM and the AM components of these vitamins and minerals to help regulate the autonomic nervous system. Okay, next. So the key functions of these minerals, let's take a look at some of these minerals. For instance, zinc, selenium, copper. Okay, particularly zinc and selenium, or zinc itself, are major substrates to the DNA repair process. And Nutrigen in particular has its key focus on targeting DNA, which again is the origin of the aging process. So the minerals that you'll actually see in here have been chosen for specific reasons to act as catalysts or enzymes around a number of different reactions that involve DNA repair, DNA maintenance, and also particularly, as you'll notice, some of the minerals in the PM are different than the AM. These are things that also help quiet the nervous system down in the evening. Okay, next. Okay, one of the other key concepts we should discuss is the idea of trying to obtain everything you need in 2 tablets in the morning and the evening. And is this enough for a 24-hour balance of minerals, or should we still eat certain foods? Okay, and this will tie into some of the other information we have today about digestive enzymes and about food in general. What we need to keep in mind is, for instance, as we age, particularly as we hit 30 and over, one of the first systems that we lose functionality with is the digestive system. And as we grow older, for instance, we are able to absorb nutrients, vitamins, and minerals less efficiently from our digestive tract, which means that even if we ate the perfect balance of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner, when we're in our 40s or 50s or even 60s and 70s, we do not get the nutrient value from the food because both our digestive enzymes, our intestinal bacteria, have changed dramatically due to the aging process. So one of the things that we have to keep in mind is Nutrigen has been designed to help give you key specific vitamins and minerals in conjunction with your meals. So we do recommend, for instance, that you definitely take your AMs with your breakfast meal, your PMs right after your dinner, so they're part of your digestive process, and they can aid in helping you extract and obtain more nutrient value from the food you eat to compensate for the fact that the GI tract, as it's aging, is losing some of its absorption capacity. So when we talk about should we still eat certain foods, in a number of my books, particularly the Anti-Aging Solution, what we discussed in detail were the types of foods that help give us the optimal quantities of antioxidants, fiber, carbohydrates, the right types of carbohydrates, and protein. So for instance, there's certain foods you definitely want to eat, and those are things that are alkaline, those are things that have high fiber, and those are things that have low glycemic index kind of sugar levels. And in many books you can find those, particularly in the book The Anti-Aging Solution, and even the Gene Makeover, my most recent books, will help guide you on what types of foods to eat. And in the very near future, my goal is to be able to have those specific foods listed on the website, on Genesa's website, so you can peek at that and really get an idea of what to stay with and what not to stay with. So in summary with this slide, the product is about utilizing a reasonable diet with this very, very special combination of nutrigenetic materials. Okay, next one. Okay, this is a very, very important concept and question. So free radicals, again, as we have discussed in the past, are really the end product of our body's metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So every time we take a bite of food that has all three of those components to the food product, those carbohydrates, proteins, and fats have to be turned into energy inside the cell. Okay, and that happens mainly in the mitochondria of the cell, that these components are turned into energy. And when that happens, the body's process actually creates free radicals. And if you'll think of the free radicals kind of as the exhaust from your engine, and the carbohydrates, proteins, and fats as the fuel that the engine needs to run on, what we end up is a pretty clear picture, if you will, from an analogy point of view of what happens. Well, these free radicals are released from us utilizing or metabolizing our fuel. And free radicals are really high energy particles. They're not really, if you will, solid objects, but they're literally like points of light or energy particles. Now these free radicals create damage to the cell membrane, okay, as well as the DNA inside the cell. And we're going to talk a lot about that in a minute. Now, over the last few decades, we've really noticed and learned about what can we do to buffer this exhaust product so that the damage that occurs to both the cell membrane and the genetic software inside the cells is much less or is more controllable. So the damage to the cell membrane is important for a number of reasons. Number one, if the cell membrane is damaged on its outer surface, which is where most of the free radical damage occurs, that's the lipid membrane, the receptors for our hormones, the receptors for cell communication, and the receptors for a number of other essential processes at the cellular level are damaged. So as that occurs, for instance, even if we're making testosterone or we're making estrogen or we're making DHEA, those molecules cannot function optimally, fit into the receptor sites, and help the cell stay healthy. So from the membrane point of view, that's really kind of the focus here on preserving receptor site function. And from the DNA point of view, we're going to talk about that in a minute. So the complexes that we use, for instance, for free radicals have been selectively chosen to do what's called cycling free radical buffering. And that means the following in simple terms. If you don't use the right combinations of antioxidants, you can inhibit certain steps in buffering the free radicals, but in reality, if you're not using the right types and quantities of free radicals, those high energy particles cannot be passed down from one molecule to the molecule below it and the molecule below that to slowly decrease that the charge on this free radical so that it's then neutralized. Many people have actually documented, many researchers have documented a concept called oxidative stress. And if you take too many of one type of antioxidant, you can actually increase your free radical levels. So although people will say, well, I take plenty of antioxidants, it's really about the right type. And in this formula, what you'll notice, the majority of these compounds are all natural. Some of them are from green vegetables, some from red vegetables.